to the session, the Hindu Editorial Analysis for Proficiency in English. Today's editorial is an important editorial. You may ask why. It is all about plastic waste. I always tell students any dimension related to environment is important. You may get in prelims, mains, descriptive English, GD, everywhere it is important. So try to listen very carefully and improve your comprehension skill. Let us start with the question, what is enrichment? Because it is related to environment, one particular dimension, plastic waste, it is important and you have to improve your comprehension skill and develop contextual awareness. You improve your vocabulary, you consolidate your grammar knowledge, effective English, mini mocks. Today, no vocabulary consolidation. Let us start the session with the question, what is this about? As I said, it is about plastic waste. This editorial is about India's significant plastic waste problem and the efforts to manage it through regulatory frameworks like the Plastic Waste Management Rules and the Extended Producer Responsibility (EPR) system. It talks about a problem and it talks about the solution, how to manage. There is a particular legal framework. What is the tone? The tone of the editorial is concerned and cautionary. Concerned because related to environment, and caution, a word of caution, being careful. Not too many words, but and a few words are quite familiar. You have to learn more words related to environment. The very first one, mess. Mess has three different meanings. One meaning, a place where you go have your food, usually bachelors, students. Mess. But here, mess as a verb, it means a situation that is full of problems, usually because of a lack of organization or control. It can be a noun, it can be a verb. Imagine there is a situation, a chaotic situation, a lot of problems, and a bit difficult to manage. Then we say it is in a mess. Things are not properly organized, then also we say it is in a mess. The third meaning, mess up, it's a phrasal verb. When someone tries to trouble you, you say, don't mess up with me. If you mess up with me, I will mess up with you. It's a standard dialogue in English movies. Now let us go to the example. The plastic waste problem in India is a significant mess that needs urgent attention. Plastic waste problem is an important problem and it needs immediate attention and we have to find a solution. Synonyms, disorder, chaos, muddle, clutter. These words you have to remember. Antonyms, order, tidiness, organization. Based on the word tidy, already I have given the related idioms. Two idioms you have to recollect. One is apple pie order, apple pie order. The second one, spick and span. Apple pie order, spick and span. Two important idioms you have to recollect. Unsustainable adjective. Sustainable, sustain, two different words. Sustainable goals means you use resources in such a way that you use resources wisely. The future generations can access sustainability, sustainable practices. But what is the meaning of the word sustain? Sustain means to maintain, to hold, to maintain. Usually we say. Unsustainable, opposite, part of speech adjective, not able to be maintained at the current rate or level. At the present rate, you cannot maintain something, then it is known as unsustainable. Look at the example. Disposing of plastic waste in landfills is an unsustainable practice that harms the environment. Usually, what is a regular practice? Dispose of. Here you have to be careful. It is not double F, it is single F. Dispose of. Plastic waste in landfills means dump yards. Dump yards. A place where all the waste is dumped, a landfill, is an unsustainable practice that harms the environment. Practice TIC is a noun form and TISC is a verb form. What are the synonyms? Unviable, unmaintainable, impractical, sustainable, viable, maintainable. Viable is an important word. What does it mean? Viable means feasible. When someone approaches with a project, we see whether it is commercially viable or not. Means commercially feasible or not. An important word for prospective bankers. Curb. Curb, we have got many a time. What does it mean? To control or to restrict, to limit. Part of speech, a verb. To control or limit something, especially something bad. Obviously, we always try to control tenable, maintainable, tenable, feasible, tenable. And coming to, obviously, it is controlling something bad, not good. Greater efforts must be made to curb plastic production and promote sustainable alternatives. Here it has been used. There are two dimensions regarding the editorial. One, we have to curb or limit the production of plastic, and second, suddenly stopping it becomes a problem. We have to provide alternative sustainable practices. Restrain, control, limit, restrict. Encourage, promote, allow, facilitate. When you see the word restrain, you have to recollect the word refrain. Restrain, refrain, both take refrain, restrain. They take the preposition from. That you have to remember. Control. Philip means encouragement. Here, encourage Philip. That's a good word. Very good. Who is that? Raya. Dispose of. I would like to caution you guys. A lot of students think dispose of, get rid of, double F. But mind you, it is single F. Dispose of, phrasal verb. To get rid of, see, single F, single F. Take care of that. To get rid of something, especially by throwing it away, you have used it or no longer useful, it's a waste. What do? You throw it away. That means you dispose it off. Many people dispose of plastic waste improperly, leading to environmental hazards. What is the meaning of the word hazard? Hazard means danger, dangers, hazards. Discard, throw away, eliminate. Keep, retain, preserve. Teething problems. Usually we say teething problems. Part of speech adjective. Referring to early difficulties or problems encountered during the initial stages of a process. When you start a project, you start something, it is inevitable, understood, obvious, you face a lot of problems. Those initial problems we say teething problems or teething issues. Look at the example. The CPCB has described these problems as teething issues associated with implementing a large scale electronic system. So, when you try to uh, implement a large scale electronic system, you are bound to face problems initially. Based on that situation, we say teething problems. Initial, early stage, developmental, mature, established, resolved. Undermining, we have got many a time. Undermining means what? Part of speech adjective. Something like highlighting or weaken, I'm sorry. To weaken or damage something gradually. Undermine someone or something, to weaken someone or something. Not all of a sudden, gradually. Sentence, example, annual lengthy investigations could end up undermining trust in the recycling system. There's a system, recycling system, and the trust may be weakened if the authorities go in for lengthy evaluation, lengthy investigations, not advisable. Synonyms, sabotage, an important word. Weakening, eroding, strengthening, supporting, bolstering, an important word. When you come across synonyms, antonyms, all may not be difficult. Whatever difficult, new, you have to spend some time. That helps in the long run. Here, two words sabotage, ing form sabotaging, and bolstering. Bolster means what? To encourage. You can also use the word Roja Rani. Debilitating. Very good. I appreciate that. Weakening, debilitating, undermining, Fraught always takes the preposition with, part of speech adjective. Fraught with, filled with, or destined to result in something undesirable. It has a negative connotation. Fraught with problems, fraught with chaotic chaos all the time, means filled with. Look at the example. The process of imposing heavy fines is lengthy and fraught with legal challenges. Means what? Filled with legal challenges. Imagine imposing process of imposing heavy fines. One thing, enfeeble also you can say chitty, very good. A lengthy and also fraught with legal challenges. People will go to court immediately. Feasible means possible, possible. Synonyms full of, laden with, replete with. These two are very important expressions you have to remember. Full of, laden with, replete with something means abundance. And devoid of, empty of, free from, simple. But this you have to remember. Those are the words from today's editorial. As I said, today's editorial is an important one. You may ask why. In my SLEEP's acronym, the last letter S, socio-cultural problems. There you have environment. Environment, so many dimensions are there. Greenhouse gases, greenhouse effect, climate change, pollution, different types of pollution. And here we are talking about plastic waste. And this is also one dimension, important dimension. Today, oceans also, they are being polluted by microplastics, not good for the marine environment. How does it start? Plastic mess. In a big mess, something is in a big mess, fraught with opportunities. No, we don't say that, Shreya. Fraught usually goes with, it has a negative connotation. It goes with problems, issues, difficulties, hardships, all those. Coming to a plastic mess means a chaotic situation on India's waste problem. Because there's a problem, what is a problem? A lot of plastic is produced, only one fourth is recycled, three fourths not recycled. That is a mess. Based on that, what is the stand taken by the editorial? More efforts must be made to curb production and promote alternatives. The stand taken by the editorial must is used to express a personal obligation or obligation imposed by the speaker, writer, in this context, editorial. It is in passive voice. Editorial opines something must be done. And what is that clearly mentioned? More efforts must be made to curb two things. One, production. On the one hand, we have to curb production. On the other hand, we have to provide alternative sustainable solutions, promote alternatives which are sustainable. That is important. India, like other, whenever you see words like, unlike, you have to recollect one important rule that goes with conjunctions. What is that rule? When we try to combine two subjects using words like, with, along with, together with, as well as, like, unlike, and not, besides, in addition to, no less than, any of these, the verb agrees with the first subject. Here we have two subjects. India is subject one, other large economy subject two. But because of like, the verb agrees with the first subject. Sentence is in present tense, affirmative form. We should add s or es to the verb. Based on that, India faces. What does India face? India faces a significant plastic waste problem. According to one particular, India, like other large economies, faces a significant plastic waste problem. There is a statement. Any writer, any editorial, any passage, first you come across a statement, then you come across justification, or the writer tries to justify or substantiate by providing statistical data. All this talks about, according to a 2020-21 report by the Central Pollution Control Board, CPCB, 4 million tons of plastic waste are generated annually. 4 million tons of plastic waste are generated annually. Unfortunately, only a quarter of this waste, means 25%, is recycled or treated, with the rest ending up in landfills or being disposed of unsustainably. Imagine only one fourth is recycled and remaining 75% either landfills or disposed of unsustainably. That is a real mess. That is what the editorial talks about. Since 2016, whenever you see since and for, the two prepositions, you have to think of two tenses, one present perfect tense, the other one present perfect continuous. Here, the clause could be in past time or a clause in past, phrase in past. Since 2016, that is past, the plastic waste management rules have mandated present perfect tense. Mandatory means what? Compulsory. Have mandated something what? That users of plastics are responsible for collecting and recycling their waste. Here, users mean those who produce plastic products. Users, what is this clause or what are the rules here? Those who manufacture or use plastic, produce plastic, there's a responsibility which is mandatory, compulsory. What is that? They have to collect that waste, that plastic, and they have to recycle. Initially, it was voluntary, later, it has been made mandatory. Since 2016, the plastic waste management rules have mandated that users of plastics are responsible for collecting and recycling their waste. These requirements or the extended producer responsibility EPR rules were initially voluntary but are now enforced through an online EPR trading platform. As I said, initially voluntary, now they have become mandatory. And how are they being implemented? Online platform. What is that platform with the rules? Extended producer responsibility rules were initially voluntary, but now, are now enforced through an online EPR trading platform. There is one online platform, EPR trading platform. The EPR system involves packagers, importers, and large industrial users of plastic users of plastic, industrial houses, packaging, as well as professional recyclers registering with the CPCB. All these are the stakeholders and they use plastic. And also here we have those who recycle also registering with the CPCB. Recyclers who have networks to collect plastic waste recycle the waste and receive validated certificates for each ton recycled. Coming to those who recycle plastic, they whenever they recycle 1 ton plastic, they get a valid certificate. But those are being misused. These certificates can be uploaded to a dedicated CPCB portal and purchased by plastic packaging companies that fall short of their annual recycling targets. Those who recycle, they get the valid certificates and they can upload if you take CPCB portal. And companies which fall short of the targets, coming to packaging companies that fall short of the annual recycling targets, they can purchase these certificates. In 2022-23, the CPCB estimated that certificates for nearly 3.7 million tons of recycled plastic were generated. 3.7 tons of plastic waste for that certificates were generated. However, it was discovered that not all of these certificates were legitimate. They are also fraud, and to the extent of 6 lakh certificates. There were approximately 6 lakh fraudulent certificates. They discovered something very shocking. Certificates to the tune of 6 lakh fraudulent certificates. Additionally, hackers reportedly stole several thousand certificates last year and sold them to companies. There are two problems here coming to certificates. One, fraudulent certificates were submitted to the tune of 6 lakh. The other one, hackers, they stole the certificates and they sold the certificates to some companies, sold them to companies. A criminal investigation is ongoing, and it remains unclear how much of the claimed 3.7 million tons was genuinely recycled. There's another problem. To what extent this 3.7 ton plastic waste genuinely recycled? That's a $1 million question. In response, so based on all this, what is the response of CPCB? In response, the CPCB has taken two significant actions. When the writer says two significant actions, he has to list out the two actions. The first one, first, it commissioned an audit of nearly 800 firms, representing almost a fourth of the 2,300 registered recyclers who had traded certificates. So they started commissioned an audit of nearly 800 firms, and these 800 firms representing almost a fourth of the 2,300 registered recyclers who had traded certificates. First initiative. Second, it undertook a comprehensive overhaul of the security features of the EPR trading platform because of the hackers' security features on the EPR trading platform, comprehensive, complete, holistic, exhaustive overhaul, reorganizing and restructuring. Although this has delayed the process of filing returns for 2023-24 by several months, because of this, the filing got delayed. The CPCB has described these problems as teething issues. As I said, the word teething goes with problems and issues. Because of the delay, some sort of justification required. So, what was the justification given by the CPCB? The CPCB has described these problems as teething issues associated with implementing a large scale electronic system. When you try to implement something on a large scale, initially you're bound to face problems. So, that's what CPCB says. While the audit is necessary, now the editorial takes a stand, says audit is indispensable, it is necessary. It should be a one time initiative to avoid undermining, weakening trust in the system with annual lengthy investigations. This is the opinion of the editorial. Editorial says it should be one time activity, should not be annual lengthy process. Then what happens? The trust in the system is lost. Although the CPCB has the authority to impose heavy fines, the process is lengthy and fraught with legal challenges. As I said, word usage fraught with usually has a negative connotation, goes with problems, issues, here challenges, legal challenges. They may impose heavy fine, but those who get the fines or those who have to pay the fine, they may go to court, and that's a lengthy process. Everyone knows that. Legal challenges. A market driven approach to solving plastic waste has a significant but limited effect. Market driven approach, asking people not to use plastic, something of that sort, to solving plastic waste has a significant but limited effect. Not on a wide scale, only a few people respond, limited effect. Greater efforts must be made. Now, all this is reiteration of the main idea. Greater efforts must be made to curb plastic production and promote same time sustainable alternatives. Addressing the root causes of plastic waste and enhancing the effectiveness of recycling systems are crucial or important in mitigating India's plastic waste problem. Mitigate, we have got so many times. Reduce, assuage, alleviate, mitigate, reduce, they all mean the same. Solution, what is the solution? Addressing the root causes of plastic waste and enhancing the effectiveness of recycling systems are crucial in reducing or mitigating India's plastic waste problem. But at the outset, the editorial says one, we have to curb plastic production, the other, we have to promote sustainable alternatives. That also you can say. Try to answer these questions based on the listening skill and comprehension skill. All questions are based on explicit information. How much plastic waste does India generate annually? According to CPCB 2020-21 report, what is the quantity? 2 million, 3 million, 5 million? No, it is 4 million tons. Yes, busy life. First one to respond. What percentage of India's plastic waste is recycled or treated? Editorial says one fourth, that means 25%. It is not 10, it is not 50, it is not 75. One fourth means what? 25%. 75% not recycled. and they end up in landfills or unsustainable way of disposing of. What is the purpose of extended promoter responsibility EPR system in India's plastic waste management? What is objective, purpose? To ban the use of all plastic products, to make users of plastics responsible for collecting and recycling their waste. Users must collect and recycle their waste. That is what it says. Good initiative, but implementation is very important. What did the CPCB estimate about the recycled plastic certificates for 2020 to 23? Certificates, how many? All certificates were legitimate. Certificates for nearly 3.7 million tons of recycled plastic were generated. Only 1 million tons of certificates were generated. No certificates were generated. 3.7 million tons of plastic, recycled plastic, were generated. Of these certificates for 3.7 million tons of plastic waste, 6 lakh certificates are fraudulent. That is very unfortunate. What major issue was discovered regarding the recycled plastic certificates? I've just mentioned what is a major issue discovered. All certificates were valid. Approximately 6 lakh fraudulent certificates were found. Not 6,000, not 60,000, 6 lakh fraudulent certificates. I wonder how they exploit the system. That's all about the questions based on comprehension and listening skill. Try to answer questions based on your grammar, knowledge, spot the errors. Read the first one. We need to give them accurate information in simple language to make them to clearly understand that their self-protection and the protection of their families are entirely in their hands. Whenever you come across words like help, make, have, get, let, you have to think of these are known as causative verbs. You have to think of one important rule. What is that? Causative verbs in active voice do not take the preposition to. You can use in passive voice, not in active voice. Here we have a causative verb. What is it? To make. To make them to clearly understand wrong. To make them clearly understand. Based on that, we have an error in the third part. We need to give them, nothing wrong. What? Accurate information in simple language, nothing wrong. To make them clearly understand that their self protection and the protection of their families are entirely in their hands, nothing wrong with the fourth part. Two should not be there, an important rule. The problem is, many a times the clause contains ambiguous and catch all phrases like events including but not limited to the ones listed herein. A question like this, you don't have to go beyond the second part, provided you know the rule that goes with a particular phrase. What is the phrase here? Many a. The phrase many a takes a singular verb, a singular noun, a singular pronoun. Based on that, here we cannot say many a times. We have to say many a time. Many a takes a singular verb, singular noun, singular pronoun. So many a time, many a time, not times. Many a time, usually I give the example. Many a bird has visited the sanctuary, not many a birds. Many times also you can say Ramakrishna. Do remember that's a good question. All of you please listen. In English, we have so many patterns. So many patterns. To express one idea, you can use a lot of words. You can use a few patterns also. But here, what is important, exam point of view, what is important? Many times, everyone knows they don't ask in the exam. Only a few know the phrase many a time, many a singular noun. That's what you have to focus on. Nothing wrong with that, many times. Perfect. But not important from the exam point of view. We should always focus on what is important. It doesn't mean that other patterns are wrong. They are familiar, they are popular, they are right. But what is important that you have to remember? The responsibility of a MP. This also you don't have to go beyond the second part, an MP. So here it begins with a consonantal letter. But how do you pronounce M? E sound is there, vowel sound. Based on that, we cannot say A, we have to say an MP. An MP, an SP, an MLA, an X-ray, an FIR. All these you have to remember. They've given many a time related to articles. Let us go to today. I have brought idioms. I have brought phrasal verbs also. Try to get all the 10 correct. And LIC. Let the cat out of the bag. What does it mean? To accidentally reveal a secret. B. To cut corners. You try to do something in a hasty manner, not spending enough money. Then we use this. To do something badly or cheaply, not spending enough money. To add insult to injury, already the situation is bad, you try to make it worse, then we say exacerbate or add insult to injury. Make a situation worse. The last straw. You have been facing a lot of problems. The last one collapses you. Then the last straw, we say. The final source of irritation for someone to finally lose patience. That is the last thing. After that, you lose balance. The elephant in the room, very important, they have given in SBI many a time. No one wants to talk about the elephant in the room. What does it mean? A matter or problem that is obvious of great importance, but that is not discussed openly. No one wants to talk about that. Everyone knows. Then we say it is there is the elephant in the room. BECDA. Wonderful. There are five phrasal verbs. Try to get all the five correct. Carry away. Usually we say don't get carried away. Means what? To become excessively involved, to take something too far. Here it is E. Get away means escape. Get away from punishment. Escape punishment. To escape a place or situation. Bad situation usually. Keep away. Keep away from someone or something that is bad or dangerous. Based on that, avoid going near somebody or something. C. Walk away means to leave a difficult situation or relationship. He walked away from the situation. And give away. You have something, you don't want to sell it, you want to give it to someone because you no longer need it. Something that you own, you give it to someone rather than selling it, often because you no longer want it. So, what is the order here? EDCBA. All the 10 correct? That's wonderful. You should be very happy because these have been given many a time in different competitive exams. That's all for today. I hope you guys have got enriched and we'll provide the PDF after the session. Try to access, join the Telegram group and work. This is an important editorial because I always tell students anything related to environment, you will get as a passage or close test or para jumble. Important from prelims point of view, mains point of view, descriptive English point of view, GD point of view. 8 is also good. You should be happy. Have a nice day. Thank you very much.